I'm Eric Wadsworth. I'm here at the Nebraska Museum, the Freighters Museum, and I've done a significant amount of research on the Nebraska City Cutoff Trail and a lot about Nebraska history. Russell, Majors, and Waddell established their headquarters here in Nebraska City in 1857 to freight supplies west for the short-lived Utah or Mormon War. Russell, Majors, and Waddell received the contract from the U.S. government to be able to freight out of Nebraska City. Nebraska City was like the rest of the country in 1857, was mired in an economic depression, so that saved Nebraska City. And when they did that, they had to use the Oxbow Trail, which goes north from here. So they did not have the Nebraska City Cutoff Trail as of yet. James Buchanan, in one of his, I will call it a blunder, he and Brigham Young didn't see eye to eye at all. Most of the federal people didn't see eye to eye with Brigham Young's thoughts because he had a territorial government, and that government was run by bishops and other people who were within the church. They also took care of the issues that were the legal issues. And he just called on, President Buchanan called on the U.S. Army to go west and meet up with Brigham Young and have a battle. But the battle there never was a battle. Brigham Young had people go up into Echo Canyon, and actually farther west. Echo Canyon is near Salt Lake City. They would go as far, I think, as Fort Laramie. They didn't kill the men on the Teamsters with the wagon trains who were taking freight west, but they harassed them. They would take their mules away from them and do all kinds of things to make life miserable. One of the things that Russell, Majors, and Waddell did that was a profound impact on the country was the establishment of the short-lived Pony Express route in 1860. Alexander Majors did a lot of freighting out of Missouri before he came here. He came here and he teamed up with the other two gentlemen and established their freighting company in Nebraska City to run, as I said, the freight for the Utah War. That's a fascinating story. Nebraska City, when Russell, Majors, and Waddell did their freighting west for the Utah War, they knew they needed a shorter route than the Oxbow Trail because the Oxbow Trail runs north and follows the Platte River on the muddy sides of the Platte River. And they needed something shorter to get to Fort Kearny. Nebraska City had several meetings and tried to say, well, we'll establish the trail for you so you can go west quicker without having to head north. It just never happened. Finally, Alexander Majors took control and he hired Augustus Harvey, who was an engineer for Nebraska City, the engineer for Nebraska City, to survey and plot the trail west towards Fort Kearny. He didn't do any type of much surveying from Nebraska City to Olathe. And from Olathe, he took a plow with 4 oxen or mules, and he plowed a single plow of ground from Olathe west to about Donovan. That's where the Oxbow Trail, the Nebraska City Cutoff Trail combined and meshed there. And then they went just a few miles further where it met with Fort Kearny. Some of the migrations that took place in 1864, the challenges they had were not any issues with the Civil War on the trail, but they would go to Missouri to try to pick up supplies that were needed for the trek west. And there were occasions where a bridge was blown up, but nothing significant that impacted the trail west from the Missouri River west. Those who came from England and Europe and other places, they did face some issues taking the train from either Boston or New York. They would go up to Canada, then come across, and then come back down into the States. But nothing real significant, no battles or anything they had to experience. didn't have much happen, except in 1864 there were some issues that took place on the trail because of the uprising caused by the, I would use the word massacre if that's too strong, in Colorado of Native Americans that were in camp there. That spread across the Nebraska as well. Massacre of freighters, not Mormons, but freighters that happened. Some of the Mormon immigrants were right behind this freighting wagon. There was like 15 who were massacred, and one lady was captured and taken away. She was later returned. The route ceased being used, the Nebraska City Cutoff Trail, after 1866 because the Transcontinental Railroad had been completed all the way to North Platte, Nebraska, which is central Nebraska, so Wyoming or the Missouri River was no longer needed.